And I think we are live. That's what the red button says. So hello, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome, all you free thinkers. This is the place to come if you have no boxes and you allow your mind. What is it in the movie Joe versus the Volcano? Let your mind go and your body will follow. So welcome. Hi, Trina.
Hi, Wayne.
How are you?
I'm so good.
So good to see you. Bright smile. I love it. But by the way, you ever see that movie, Joe versus the Volcano?
I don't know that I have.
Oh, you've got to see it. Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. And it is a classic. Probably one of the most touching, romantic, but yet cleverly comical.
Wonderful.
Yes. There's a scene in there, and if you watch it, it's well worth it. Trust me, you'll laugh, you'll cry. And there's one scene in there with Tom Hanks, and they're stranded on the ocean, and the moon is coming up, and it fills the whole sky. And the character Tom Hanks is playing, he says, "I never realized how big you really were," and he was meaning consciousness.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
those little drops of wisdom in those old movies, just you catch them now that we see things different. You see how much you didn't before.
Yeah. I mean, I call them golden nuggets, pearls. I like that. Opals. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want to say hello to everyone tuning in. Hello, Warrior Queen Lois. We love you. We're going to have you on next week. Put some food on that. Yeah, so someone said Maverick. I thought about Tom Hanks today, too. Franny, how are you? All the moderators think, hey, Brian's in here. Can you believe that? Hey, Brian, Milky Way Messenger. Love you, brother. Good to see you. Herman, good to see you. David, Barry, good to see you. Man, there's just, yeah. You know what? If we were serving, coffee, tea, or drinks, you and I would be like really busy.
Absolutely.
It's like, man, I can only feed so many at one time. Well, let me just invoke favor upon everybody this day. May favor find you in the extreme, and may there be nothing lacking, nothing broken in your life. I always like to think that there is an ever supply, and may that supply never run dry with you, and may you have full restoration in your life. That's just the way it is here. We speak favor over your lives because it's important. It works, and that's all I can say. It's like, all right, fine. I just want to thank everyone for the overwhelming birthday wishes. Just tremendous favor. It was felt. Thank you. I have to say, it was one of the best. I didn't remember the first couple. But that one I'll put into the archives, Trina. So it was a lot of fun. And just tremendous. It was, even my wife was just saying, she says, well, she says, what's up?
Right.
Like,
you get
what's
a
up?
rainbow, and then you have an amazing birthday. All this favor is just coming back to you. You're sending it out, and it's coming back full force. That's how it works.
It really does. I mean, the Hermetic principles that the universe seeks balance. The pendulums swing because we're ever in the force of life. And that's what life is. And Trina, I have seen it. The pendulum has begun to swing back. And I'll say this. For all of you who have been struggling, and, listen, there are people in this community that if you haven't had a card reading, I know Warrior Princess, Queen does it. There's just a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Find someone here and let them actually tell you what you were born under, what sign your planet was. I mean, I never knew, Trina, Mercury. Now, if I had just come to that realization when I was about 12, wow, talk about being a superstar by now.
Oh my gosh, I'm Aries. I'm ruled by Mercury and Mars. It's like those are in my chart so heavy. It's
Yeah.
Powerful. Very powerful.
I think Heidi, when she did mine, Mercury and Jupiter, and talk about the power. I mean, come on anyway. So it's something I think all people on numerology. I mean, the incidences of threes and fours, all the same. Lynn, my wife, she just says, this is nuts.
I know. It's like, you can't make this stuff up. No. It is so in your face sometimes, the synchronicities and the numbers and the signs. If you start to pay attention, it's like they get more. You keep seeing more and more and more. And you will see them in a million different ways through a song on the radio. Anything. It's like it comes in all different forms.
Yeah, and the incident, the frequency that started, I guess it was last November, still happens. I mean, we have where the house is, you walk out and then you go into the garage, and I have a radio. I play classic rock all the time, 24 hours a day, doesn't go off. Yeah. And I can still walk out there and still Led Zeppelin. I mean, it's just, my wife is so used to it. She's like, yeah, I know. She said, so it's just, yeah. Do you have that happening in your life?
I do. There's certain things that they stop you in your tracks and they move you to such an extent, because I think it's those moments where you grasp a frequency that just made you feel good.
Yeah.
In some way or another. And when you can go back there, you're literally time traveling and you're getting into that frequency and letting it resonate through your being. I think it's one of the most powerful medicines for our physical being that we can do for ourselves.
Something just hit me, Trina, when you were speaking. Wow, I had never seen it this way.
Yeah.
Everyone should go back and look at their life, and hear me out on this, folks. It's an opportunity for you to turn the frequency that was negative and turn that frequency and vibration now into where you are in that good place, that higher frequency. Wow, Trina, this is amazing, because it literally you can go back and you can literally transmute the energy tied to those memories.
Yes. And it's such this is why belief is so profound. I heard once that if you believe something, it does not matter. Like literally, there's nothing earthly that can bypass the power of a true belief. So that power is so amazing. So if you can truly get into those times of your life where you felt good, you felt powerful, you felt joy, you felt love, you felt safe, those emotions are a gift, because you have a charge, and it's literally a frequency, and that gives you the code to send out to the matrix to say, bring me more.
Yeah.
What you resonate with, you emanate back out. So we are antennas, but we're also sending signals out as well. So when we're vibrating at the right frequency, we're literally changing the world. That's why meditation is so powerful, because it slows down all the confusion and gets you into a calm peace, which is closer to nature and creation itself. So you're getting back to your more organic frequency.
Yes.
And that's what it is. You're shifting that frequency.
I was told decades ago by a very wise person that, as he said, you'll know when you begin to see the change in your life. He said, as you begin to look back on memories, we have this unique ability. As I was reliving mine yesterday with the world, there was some very bad times in there. But you know what? The odd thing was, my mind did not perceive it as bad.
Yes.
I only saw it as, the precious moment that it was.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. Nobody can see through the same eyes. So somebody could have looked at your circumstances and been thinking a whole different situation from what was actually being lived inside.
Oh, yeah.
Your
I can guarantee they did.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Nobody knows what's going on inside of you except for you.
Mm-hmm.
So You are an optimist, Wayne. I mean, you are a strong, strong spirit. So with that, even though your circumstances were so unbelievable, you always saw the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and it wasn't a freight train.
No, you always had that inner strength.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's a powerful gift, and that's a beautiful thing.
Well, you know, it's like a good cake.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of ingredients, you know. You really do. I made the mistake one time because I never figured out, you know, salt. Who would have thought salt in a sweet, you know, like cake? Well, you don't put the salt in there, that cake's going to taste like, puh.
Yep. And isn't it funny? They say, ye are of the salt of the earth.
Yes, yes. And I think there's another one that says, once salt has lost its saltiness, it is of no use.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, you know, as we're talking about this, so, you know, I'm a history buff. I think I must have lived back in the Roman times because I have an affinity for that period. But one of the things that the Romans would do is that when they would come in and start conquering a region, they would salt the fields. Now, the interesting thing about that is when you put active salt into a living organism, it won't let anything else grow.
Wow.
Think about that.
Wow.
You know, this is the place where deep revelations come.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
the logos and the rhema really kind of intermixed here very, very frequently. I want to show something, Trina, that we got, and I want to say thank you to Ralph. Ralph, I believe, lives in, I don't know what region of Africa. He may say it. I want to say Nairobi, but I'm not sure. This video was just sent to me, Trina. This is the full moon in his region. Check this out. Okay, I hear the echo here. All right, so here we go. Region. Check. Oh, 1 second. I need to take care of a little thing here. Give me 1 second. I have one. There it is. That's why I hear that. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I had to come in and reboot the process. Now, I think we can hear this. You ready? Here we go.
Our wind Steiger. This is Cameroon skies. These are the African skies.
Cameroon.
Red moon.
Red moon.
Red moon, Cameroon, wind Steiger. Our wind Steiger. This is Cameroon. We are witnessing live red moon.
Oh, things are changing
fast. This giving you the freaking, I mean, you hear, I'm going to let it play.
Yeah, holy moly.
June 17th.
Cameroon, Africa, and we're witnessing live a red moon. Never seen this in my whole fucking life.
All right.
Sorry for the life.
That's all right, Ralph.
It's crazy. Thanks. African skies. These are the African skies. Cameroon, red moon. Red moon, Cameroon, wind Steiger. Our wind Steiger. This is Cameroon. We are witnessing live a red moon. A red moon. Never seen this before. We are June 17, 2019. This is Cameroon, Africa, and we're witnessing live a red moon. Never seen this in my whole fucking life.
There you go. That is probably one of the most, that's the blood moon I have never seen. And I'm going to actually do some more work in there because he actually captured something here and you can see it right here in the front of the moon. I don't know what that is, but it's constant. And yeah.
Wow. Unbelievable. That is amazing capture.
Yeah, it was really weird, isn't it? I mean, it's like.
So is that another planet or is that the moon? Another moon?
I can't think it's the moon. I mean, but he was there. Ralph was there. It was full moon. I tried to ask him on atmospheric conditions, and he said where they live, they usually have the dry season or the wet season, but there were no pollutants in the sky or anything else. So I don't know what they viewed, what he captured, but
Wow.
yeah. Same thing I asked Gary. No, there's no fires. He was saying, because that's the first thing I thought about was smoke, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
But anyway, so
Wow. The sky looked very clear. You could tell by the stars it was pretty clear.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we're living in a time of dramatic changes. You know, our title of our theme here is the gift of consciousness. And I have been thinking more and more about this because I think we're about to go into a period of dramatic change.
I do too.
This is just, I've been meditating. I keep on getting these impressions. Our species has gone through, in our history, dramatic changes. And I don't mean just climatically, I mean consciously.
Yeah.
I think, Trina, something is happening. I really do.
I do too.
You know, I want to give credit to Gray Lady Raven, was that she wrote me and she said, isn't it odd that many of us in this community all suffer from immune suppression type things? I have fibromyalgia. You know, I have to meditate on it. And a lot of us have these autoimmune anomalies. And so this morning I was making tea and just meditating. And then the thought came to me, you know, when you're beginning to become very much aware of your consciousness, when something like suppresses our immune system, and that affects us all in many different, yes, that I think as well, that I think it may have triggered a lot of our psychic abilities.
Yeah.
I really do, Trina. What do you think on that?
I think anytime you hit a wall in your lifetime, it forces you to either just dive down into it and just go into the spiral of darkness and let it consume you, or you will find a way to understand it and change it. So, you know, those are kind of the two roads you go. You either go defeat, or I'm going to try something different, or try to see it from a different way. And I swear, Wayne, I think the reason a lot of us suffer with this stuff is because I really do think that the dark forces, they get mad at.
Well, when you talk about these forces, so I think we need to get into this consciousness.
Yeah.
Where does consciousness arrive from? I don't know.
No, I don't think anybody does.
I haven't found a good explanation.
And then science just says it's not local. So it's not even in our brain. So, okay, so where it comes from is really got to be a big conundrum now. It's because, okay, it's not even local. Oh, wow.
And what does that say? I mean, you know.
Unlimited potential.
See?
Unlimited potential, because if it is not local, then that means that if we can think it, you can connect to other information strands of light that resonate with that thought vibration. So that's what this expansion of mind is because every time you get a new thought or you expand your mind, you're connecting to a new part of the universal cosmic mind.
Yeah, someone wrote in the chat room earlier, and I happen to agree with it. So the idea of consciousness, is consciousness merely reactive to the past? Because when you think about it, when we originate a thought, when we become conscious of it, it's actually, we're living in the after effect of the thought.
Yes.
All right. So the question then becomes, is consciousness tied to merely the present of the past? And is that what limits us for many from seeing the future?
I think in all actuality, it's connected to past, present, and future
Yeah, someone
simultaneously. And that's what I mean. I think it's just about frequency matches and locking into certain frequencies, and those go through different thought waves. So it's about where can you go in your mind is where you're going to go through the cosmos or universe or timelines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because literally, if you don't have the information within your own database, you can't connect to information that resonates at a similar frequency. So that's with like the quantum jump that now we're making in science, the quantum, that's going to bring forth, that's the expansion that we're seeing. The quantum leap was the quantum leap you're seeing in our consciousness.
So taking that further, it's interesting because you didn't know what I was drawing.
No.
No, I wasn't showing any, but here. So when we look at consciousness and we look at time in the position of past, present, future, I think that we have forgotten that there is yet another part of time that I don't think we have even begun to contemplate yet.
Yeah.
I mean, Trina, it can't be just linear.
It's not.
It can't be.
I can't see it that way. I see it multidimensional in its essence. And I do see it stopping at a certain level, but I see it multidimensional.
Yeah. Yeah, so do I.
I see off of every point, there's fractals coming out of that point. So within every point, there's like, I see 12 coming off the one.
That's profound. 12.
Always 12. And then that's where it's so funny. Then 12 times 12, that's 144.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that 12 going out to the 12th power somehow. So it's like, whoa. Yeah, but yeah, they showed me like the original the zodiac wheel. It's got the 12. The 13 is you, the sun in the center, the source, soul. It's you in the center because you're in your own consciousness. You're in your own world. In essence, you're in your own world.
Well, you are literally we all are. I mean, that's.
Yes, and they showed me that like one shoots out to 12, but then I saw a layer of a 12 mirroring another 12. So I saw like a 12 reflecting another 12. And that would make the set of 24. And that's the 24 elders in the Bible. And this was like all the stuff they were showing me in my head. And I was like trying to wrap my brain around it going, whoa. So yeah, then it showed me like each 12 has its own like personality thought process, like a zodiac sign. Like they all have their own essence. And part of you fractals out through that too. And then that goes to 12th power. And it was just this huge dropping down process of our soul.
I can see that. And I'm trying to recall, I know Patrick, when we did Talking with the Planets 12 came up, I heard a pretty interesting guy, I think he's a rabbi, when we talk about death and we talk about consciousness. Now, is consciousness transmuted at death? He had an interesting point. He said, there are many different beliefs, if you were raised in China, you typically are not going to have a Judeo-Christian view of the afterlife or the spiritual realm. Nope. It's a completely different reality. And when we pass over, and apparently consciousness is not interrupted, in some cases they say that you literally wake up not knowing you're actually dead.
I've heard that.
Well, we just watched an accident with a person that unfortunately was hit, T-boned, instantly died. And Lynn and I were talking that person, their reality never changed. They were going to church, and now of course I'm not there, but it seems like he probably continued on to church.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, he pointed out that he says that when that consciousness of the fact that you have died comes, he says, then it's typically what your belief system is who begins to come to you to help you become acclimated to the next part of your existence.
I asked that question because I was, when I was talking to the Lord when I was little, I was like, What about people that don't know about you or don't believe in you? What about them? And he showed me like all the different religions. And he showed me like when they go to heaven, they go to what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, that makes sense. So he's like, because none of them are wrong. I was like, wow. He goes, they all have faith. He's like, but yeah, but they'll go to where they believe. And I was like, again, it goes back to the power of our belief.
Yes, yes. And so let's tie that then to consciousness, because it seems like consciousness is, and how shall I say it? It is customizable to each soul. In other words, there's no two consciousness that are the same.
Nope. And I think it's due to the vibrational frequency that you were created on your original essence.
Okay.
It was shown that each one of us came out as like a unique fingerprint of the creator. Not one would be the same as the other. Some might be so close, but they'll never exactly match vibrationally. And that goes with your DNA and your original coded blueprint from your light body.
Yep. When I do my spirit song, and it's typically, I do it when I'm in the shower because I am part of water. I understand now that element.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great knowledge once you become aware of what from an alchemist point of view, what immersing yourself into that element can do. And what I have found is that the level is of one of, it's just thanksgiving, gratitude. And it's the impression that it's beyond, for me, it's beyond the construct of God, because I had been taught wrongly of a construct of God. And what I see it today as, it's a living force.
Huge, right. And it's huge.
Yeah.
It's not the white beard guy thing, no.
And so this morning, I'm in there and I heard myself saying this, thank you for thinking of me. Yeah. I'm convinced if something is greater than myself, then that means that something has thought of me as they thought of you.
It knows you intimately.
Yes. Yeah.
And it gets to experience all of life through you.
Bingo. Yeah.
And that's why it created you specifically that way, because it needed to experience that part of creation through this kind of an attribute to experience fullness of all things, good, bad, dark, light, all of it. So it's all for the learning of creation itself.
So when we think, because you mentioned something there, I love it, because the good and the bad, what I have learned through the pain in my life has served to, in so many ways, strengthen me.
It's your sharpest tool in your toolbox.
It is, isn't it?
That's where we get our sword from.
Thank you, Jenny.
That's where we get these things from, because we've won battles. And when you win those battles, not only do you get tools, you learn how to fight, you also end up with a few scars.
You do. You really do.
I think we are on one of the most densest places in the whole creation, from what I know, in this cosmos. And with that, they were like, the strong ones are here now, because we needed to usher in the change. So I think all of us here going through all of these different challenges, it's all because we need those challenges to push us harder and push us to make us stronger, to see things from a different perspective, to heal things that we need to heal. It'll no longer allow you, it will force you. And I think that's coming right now. And I think that's a lot of what we're feeling is we need to clean out all of the toxins and all the horrible language and symbols and all of these things that we've been fed subconsciously. I think now it's time we got to start cleaning house.
So again, as you were talking, let's define the word life force, because life is a force. It's moving against something. Otherwise, you don't have a force.
I literally saw that, Wayne, like Pink Floyd, you know, the prism and the rainbow.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
literally, because I was like, what makes me alive? You know, I'm like, what does that? You know, and they literally showed me a prism with the rainbow coming out. And they were like, then they showed me like inside your cells are millions of little triangles that reflect and carry light.
Mm. It's very interesting that you mentioned in the book, The Multidimensional Man,
Mm-hmm.
Jürgen Zai, he in fact wrote that. He said that there is a level of consciousness
Mm-hmm.
that where thought in of itself throws off life forces, and each
Right?
life force becomes a force within itself.
Yes.
And you are the cone
Yeah.
that actually is the lotus flower opening up that shows you that imminent creative force that we call consciousness.
Yes. I literally do. I see it as a spark of light, and it moves. And I've seen it. They show me things in different ways. Maybe it's so people can comprehend it different ways. I don't know. But exactly like you said, as the lotus, I've seen it like that. And they've also shown it to me as the sun, like, and the rays bursting forth out of the sun. And then they also showed me like a Merkaba, where two triangles coming together forming a star, and then it spins. And when it spins, it creates like diamond light that starts sparking out of it like a diamond. So that I've seen it different ways. And then, but they showed me the fire is in the pyre triangle.
Interesting.
So somehow the spark, I think, is somehow in the geometry of the Trinity, the triangle.
As you were saying that as well, the thing that really got me as well is that, so when you think about that, that is the essence of spirit itself.
Yes.
Now, whether it's a trinity, whether it is, I don't know if it's even a singularity.
The Trinity, to me, it makes sense because as a healer, when I would like, how do I help? And they're like, all three have to agree. They would always tell me all three must agree, which is body, mind, spirit. So yeah, body, soul, spirit, whatever, they all must agree, all three, because that's what literally brings the light into the body and activates the light within you through that light process. But they showed me somehow it is connected to the all three agree, because you see the placebo effect happen. So there's something to that, because as soon as you believe it, that's that power of that belief again. And all three agree, magic happens and your body is filled with light.
The one thing that Lilith, the Liber Lilith, taught me that I really took a lot from that, but when she wrote, and I had never considered this, that the body has a spirit apart from our spirit. The body has its own temple, its own identity. It has in this unique cosmic way agreed to the joining of both spirit and, whether you want to call it mind, whatever, but there is a joining that takes place.
They showed me spirit and matter, or mother. That's the joining of the spirit and the matter.
Okay. Same.
Mother, earth. And think about it, Wayne, we have a birthday.
Yes, we do. We have
birthday. This means you're going to go be an earth.
There is a birthday. It's a very good point on that.
Yeah, be Earth Day. Here you go. You're going to go be Earth now.
Well, what I have learned in healing for myself is that I have learned to acknowledge the spirit of my body. And most people, they wonder why there's always the unbalance. I see something that Franny is talking about when you talk about the triangulation. I love that, because so the body essence, as I don't know if you want to call it sensed, seen, whatever, is that that's what immutes back into the earth at death. It's literally, you have a separation of spirits, energies that are going back to wherever this, I mean.
That's exactly how I saw it, Wayne. That's exactly how I saw it. Like when you drop the body, you drop a lot of the sensories initially because you're connected so much to the body, and it takes a while to get your other sensories going again. But like one of the highest forms I've seen us in, but still yet some form of light physical body, is bright, like indigo, bluish purple light body beings. And man, all they do is dance.
They're with me quite.
Yeah, they're the happiest thing. Yeah, so those are like, and then when you get to that, you're getting into stuff that's almost the unseen stuff. But that was like the highest, one of the highest levels of form for humanity that I've seen, is these bright blue, beautiful gold, indigo, purple light beings, light bodies. Oh, they're beautiful.
My guide keeps telling me that there is an awareness of consciousness that I'm not consciously aware of. Now, hear me out on this, because I had to meditate on it and think about, well, what's being said here. But the experience that we call death, I call it the birth of real life. I mean, I think this realm is the death realm. It's just my personal view. If it was the life realm, it would have no death in it.
It's proven with entropy.
Yes.
There's no other way around it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're mortal. That's it. We're done. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, so there is, and you just pointed, that separation of what we call the physical, there is something yet that will replace that. The spirits know. They know this.
It's not even like a replacement. The way I see it is like you just shed your skin.
Yeah, I think that's literally what it is.
But it seems like it's like you just shed your skin and boom, you're out in your other body. It's like no big deal.
So last week you and I were talking, and I don't know why it just came to me, but the question was, do spirits have sex? And someone pointed out, well, then why do we have succubuses and incubuses?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
what I would think, well, then why did these entities all try to have sex with you? And even when you're talking aliens and abduction, they're all having sex with us.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and it seems like this entire whole construct of the beast and machine cosmos thing is all based on sex.
Yes, thank you very much.
It goes all the way to the top. So that kind of value for sex, because it's genetics. Those are the books of life. Those are the books of God. Those are what they're trying to obtain. They're stealing and playing and trading the books. So yeah. So you know, when I die, I'm like, okay, I'm done with the book trading stuff. I'm going out of that, because I don't want that, because we come before that. To get the genetic codes dropping down. So yeah. I'd say go 8th spear or above.
Yeah. Well, as Franny said, everything in creation, therefore everything is sexual. Yeah, I mean, it is the fabric of this construct.
Without it, none of us would be here.
Nope. And again, in some of the books I am reading, when you look at magic, the ancient kind of magic, what I am really finding out, and it's not taught. In fact, we have to really be careful how you say it, but they knew that there was something that and I'm still a novice, but apparently there is an essence at the moment of this climatic exchange of energy.
Yes.
That is something that the intelligences seek.
It's called Stargate.
Ooh, thank you, madam. Excellent. Expound, please.
I have a deep understanding of this from a past, and that was what was created, was portals to open and create new universe. And it was literally the seeding of it, because the orgone energy put into that empty matter, that perfect womb, literally was like a seed. Wow. So with the priest and the priestess were used in ceremony, and we were put in specific rooms that produced a certain echo, and there was sounding, and it would create a certain vibration, and the energy of the priest and the priestess coming together in that sexual union with everybody else focusing on creation all at the same time using sound, it would literally open up stargates.
I'm seeing so much of what you're saying. Yeah,
Right. It's powerful.
it's the cone of the creation of life itself. And again,
Yeah.
I had a little journey where when you see that essence of the flower opening, that's really the womb bringing forth the essence of this creation. Yeah.
Because that's what they showed me, like the whole darkness, like it's pure potential. And as light comes into contact with it, it's like that merge is the Big Bang, literally. And it creates right there. And the thought forms that created it, be it good or be it bad, is how it manifests.
So my guide took me on, you talk about the quantum.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone in the audience follow this. If you could look at that moment of that spark, that's that energy, however we want to define it, on a quantum level, it is the Big Bang.
Yep.
It's literally universes coming into existence.
Yep.
Which tells me that when you look at, and you begin to look at this exponentially, with every human being, with who knows what else spiritual beings can do, it tells me it never, it blows. I can't fathom it right now. It doesn't end, Trina. There's no end.
That's what I went, like, I like, show me a little bit, you know, and like, I started going through space and through the cosmos, and when I've always asked, like, show me something. Well, I don't know how, but I get to feel it too at the same time. So I can see and I can feel. And as I started going out past just our universe into the multiverse, and then getting into the omniverse, I was just like, stop, you know, stop. Yeah, stop, you know. And then I hear the voice, it's laughing, and I'm like, what's so funny? And then I saw a picture of a pinky with a thimble on top of it, you know, and he's like, you couldn't even handle 2 drops in a thimble. And I was like, oh. Now I see why we can't hold our consciousness in our bodies, because literally it would make you explode.
Yeah, I think that we don't. So all this ties in, because when I begin to understand the words have effects, effects have consequences, consequences bring forth results. All right.
Yeah, because words are vibration. Vibration hits the matrix. It brings back an exact match, and that's your consequence.
There you go. And when I understood that our bodies hold a genetic code that's unique to me,
yes,
no one else.
No one else has your specific frequency. And Wayne, it's beyond genetic code. It's a light code.
So
it is bigger. It's a meta capability that it's invisible to, we can't see it. And it is the strongest part of you. It's a foundation of you, and it comes from the unseen. That's where your perfect template is, of your perfect source vibration.
We have a geneticist in our audience, and she wrote, and she said, the thing that we're finding out, she says, Wayne, is that there's no end.
No, we're metaphysical, multidimensional. Our meta genes, the invisible, the junk DNA that they can't quite figure out. That's the part of us. That's why we're called the wild cards.
Because, I can see that.
Yeah, because our potentials are truly, they are unfathomable, because literally as big as you can think it, we can create it, because that's what we are.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what she was saying.
We start to remember what we are. And like I said, guys like you waking up the divine feminine, and the women getting back into the wholeness of their duality, this merging will merge the mind. And when we can start getting into these different, well, it's going to bring a new frequency, Wayne.
I think you're right.
Awareness, that will bring in new information, that will unlock hidden genetics, that will unlock potentials that have been sleeping inside of us, because we will wake them up.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, and she pointed out that the mitochondrial DNA, which by the way is feminine.
Yes.
She said, and literally, the more that they see, the more that she says, there's just some things that we can't even comprehend that we're finding.
Like its own cosmos.
Yes, thank you.
For reals, with like 96 billion trillion stargates and potentials, and the mitochondria. I call it Mighty Mouse, but it is.
Well done. Yes.
Yeah. That's matter.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's the matter. That's the matter. That's the master architect builder is in the mitochondria. Yeah. It's some amazing stuff.
And we walk with it. We walk with this unique genetic code to ourselves. And, that's why death doesn't scare me. It's impossible for death to ever have effect. Well, as I say all the time, if death is a spirit, then death is alive.
Absolutely.
I mean, seriously.
It's part of this construct. And it's entropy. It's literally part of the coding of this earth realm.
Yeah.
You're supposed to come here to understand physicality so you can understand duality. Because in the higher realms of light, the duality, the contrast isn't as strong. So you can't learn it the same way you can learn it here. And if you're going to create, you need to understand creation down to its lowest vibrations of what you're doing in creation. So what a better way is to throw you into the densest, darkest matter available to learn the deepest, darkest, densest experiences for creation.
As you were just talking, I can see from a consciousness level. Again, I contend that there are levels of consciousness that we can't even be consciously aware of.
Yeah.
But every time you say the density of this realm, and it's a dense realm. You go back and you look, even Plato knew that this realm, the physical realm, is a dense realm.
Well, I remember coming in, Wayne, and it was like a crushing, I thought I was going to die right there. I mean, the crushing pressure of this.
You did. In essence, you actually did die.
Yeah. And then when people tell me it's dense, I'm like, oh, you have no idea until you feel
it.
It was crushing. And I was like, this is where claustrophobia comes from. I literally felt the density coming into matter, and it was amazingly horrible, painful.
As you were just saying this, and it's hitting me hard, we're dead right now. I mean, people don't realize it, but the only way you come into this realm is to die into this realm.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, I am really just getting... This is amazing because it shows that I think it's something that we have to go through. Maybe we challenge ourselves through to take the challenge of this death realm.
Yeah, I think we literally said we would come.
I think we did, yeah.
Uh-huh.
They say that we all have a contract.
I saw mine.
You see? So, yeah, I mean, and I've had that Plato's Cave, the Screen of the Shadow, yeah, exactly, Philip. Thank you for joining. I haven't seen you before, Philip. Hey, Eric, how you doing, buddy? So... This realm, this dense realm, the higher frequency of vibration would be readily seen because it would emanate a light within it because of the frequency vibration. Higher vibration emits light.
Remember I told you, Wayne, that my mom started praying for me when I was in the hospital, and they showed me a floodlight coming out of the planet from her praying.
I believe that.
Not to die. And then he laughed. He was like, it's my ability, and it's the will of the Father to grant the prayers of a mother. And I knew I was already in. I knew I was going in. I was like, oh no, I knew. And yeah, my mom's prayer was like a serious, like a lighthouse. It was so bright. It was retarded so bright. I was like, oh my gosh, seriously, I'm so done.
Well, you see, and as you were Because why? Because I believe that, well, it's been well written, faith can move mountains.
Oh, yes.
I always, from my days, still remember Mark 11:23-24. I can quote it to you. It says, have the faith of God, the God kind of faith. And it says, if you would believe in your heart and not doubt, that those things for which you say they shall come to pass. And if you would say unto this mountain, be you cast up and thrown into the sea, and doubt not in your heart, but believe that those things for which you say you shall have them.
Yep. And that mountain will move.
I've moved mountains all the time.
Yep.
I mean, and they are as literal as the mountains to the west of me, and they're literally right back where I'm pointing behind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's that factor of faith.
Absolutely. And from what I understand, like I said, if you truly believe it, which means you have no doubt, when you truly believe something, nobody can tell you any different.
No.
And if you believe it, that whatever it is that you believe, it will happen.
And I believe that carries forth into the next realm. I don't know what the next realm is. I actually do believe it.
I do too.
I think when we step across the veil, we bring, I think, mighty treasures with us. Some of us don't take but very little. Mm-hmm. But there are many of us who come with an armory.
Yes. I think we all have an armory, and it's as unique to us as our fingerprint. But it's, can you enter the doors to receive your inheritance?
Yes.
But can you open the doors of thought? Because those keys are vibrational. They unlock information. So can you open the doors?
And it is the thought.
Yes.
Again, take no thought saying.
Yes.
When the minute you give verbalization to the thought, it now becomes an active force.
Yes.
Yeah. And I tell people,
it's like this, the scripture, Matthew 6:22. It says, the light of the body is the eye. If then your eye is true, all your body will be full of light. Because you believe it. If it's true, you believe it. And if you believe it, then you can manifest it, because your body will be filled with light. That's what I told you. When you believe it, you activate light. I think somehow it's based on faith.
I think it is a mutable, tangible force.
I do too.
I have, listen, it's not, once you learn how to control it, corral it, mm-hmm. and focus it, it manifests itself in many different ways. I mean,
yes.
Yes, it does. It does.
It's funny because you don't have to try. It just happens of its own.
It does. It just.
You are in resonance with it.
So true. I'm just trying to read some of the comments. There's a lot of people going on this one. I guess someone didn't like that statement. But faith isn't taught enough, and unfortunately, faith is so often hijacked through the dogma of a religious faith. And I contend with people, no, you had faith before there was ever a religion. Yes. I mean, the fact that you exist.
That's what I mean. Faith is about more than faith, like I said, everything on us has been turned upside down. Mm-hmm. We don't even know that we're living in a death realm. Everything is backwards here. So when you're talking about faith isn't about asking somebody for something. Faith is about knowing that you have the capability to manifest it within your own being because of your own belief in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's faith, and faith has been taken away from us too and brought outside of ourselves. You have to have faith in God. You have to have faith in Christ. You have to have faith in this. It's like they don't want you to have faith in yourself because that's the missing link. And
Bingo.
you have to believe that you are part of your belief. You have to believe that this belief is not outside of you, because for the fact that you can hold it true within you means it's inside of you. But that's where everything is backwards. We're born into death. Faith is like go outside of yourself instead of go inside and create the faith and believe it and manifest it in this world, because that's what we do. So they've taken all of our abilities, twisted it around. They're using our powers to manifest their programs through the TVs and the media and all the stuff they're giving us. And we're just running around creating this whole crap show because we don't know any difference, and we're creating by default.
I love that. And Franny just wrote, the term retard in physics denotes the forward progression of light waves. Everything is indeed backwards.
Yes. And
We got some smart people here.
Yes, and a lack of oxygen as well. So yes.
See? Well, Miss Trina, our hour has come and gone again.
Wow.
And yeah, this has been so cool.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's like people get so triggered with words, and we all have such different meanings of words in our own minds.
We do.
Like, can I share a really funny one with you?
Sure.
Okay, prick. I call lots of people that I have a lot of admiration for a prick, because you're sharp as a needle. Prick. Okay, so my surgeon heard me talking about him, and I was calling him a prick, and he was like so upset. And I sent him an email the next day, and I wrote down my definition of prick. I was like, you are a prick, but you need to understand my definition of prick probably does not match your definition of prick. My definition of prick means perfectionist, reliable, genius, kind, and caring.
There you go.
Yeah, caring and kind. So I wrote the anagram out for him, and I was like, that's my definition of prick. The first person I ever called a total prick was my mom. She's a perfectionist. She's genius. She's reliable. She's kind, and she's caring. But she's always right. And she's very thorough. And you know what I mean? She has that perfectionist personality. So for me, when I told him that, he started laughing so hard in his office. He actually called a staff meeting and wrote the letter to the whole staff. And my girlfriend, who had worked for him for like 15 years, said she had never heard him belly laugh in his whole life. And it was because he thought he assumed something totally horrible. And, you know, I told him, I'm like, no, that's not at all what I meant. This is what I mean when I defined you as a prick.
I like this. That you see?
He was floored.
A complete upside down, that where the social norms would say that is a disparaging remark.
Right.
Where you're
very disparaging remark.
Yeah.
It was kind of an inside joke, you know, like, oh, my mom's just being a prick. You know, I mean, she's being her perfectionist, reliable herself, but that can make your life kind of hell when she wants you to do stuff and she wants it done perfect. And
yeah.
So it affected me a lot.
And it's interesting because I'm seeing some of the comments in here, and you know, where I think of the word prick, I think of it back from the persecution of the Dark Ages, of where they used to get the confession of the witches. They would use a prick, and that's what they called it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and what they would do, they would look for moles on a woman's body. Of course, she was stripped. Yeah, anyway. And that was the term pricking.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, learn stuff about words every day that you never knew.
You never know it.
That's why I said we've got to stop our judgments, because we naturally react to these triggers. And words are our biggest trigger. And we need to stop and go, you know, I might not even understand what they mean or where they're coming from, because none of us have the same basic data points. They're all different based upon our experiences and our perceptions. So that none of them are ever going to match.
Folks, this is class. This is all I can tell you. It's deep conversation, but if you listen, you'll learn. Trina, thank you. Can you come back next week? Let me know what you can do.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll let you know when I can. I'll look at the calendar.
Okay. Appreciate that because this is fun. I like this.
I love coffee, and it's awesome being with you and sharing these conversations. And you're so smart, and
I don't know about that. Just experienced a little bit. That's all.
It's so great to be able to share because we have different experiences, and we're all coming at this from different.
Yeah.
It's so amazing because I learned so much from you, and I learned so much from the chat and everybody in there. They're so smart. They freak me out sometimes. I'm like, y'all need PhDs. So, I mean, some of them are like, there's so much great minds.
There is. I call it taking a swim.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I love swimming in other people's realities. It's a lot of fun. So, stay on, Trina. Tonight, join me over on the Artist First Network with the Steiger Perspective. Going to be talking about changes, and there are a lot of changes on the horizon, folks. As we said at the beginning of this show, I think we're coming into a time where the frequencies are going to be intense. They're going to be from multiple directions. And yeah. So she agrees. We'll talk about it next week. Stay on, Trina. Everyone else, thank you. We love you. Appreciate it. We know you have a lot of places you can go. You've enriched our lives, and I hope we've had a chance to share a little bit back into yours. Trina, you want to say anything? Just
love you guys all, and it's so glad to be on this journey with you. Been waiting for you for a long time.
See, she's far out. It's 10 o'clock Eastern now, and 8 o'clock Mountain Time. All right, folks, we'll see you tomorrow. And please learn to love yourself, learn to forgive yourself. I like what Milky Way Messenger, learn to be the frequency you want to be. That's attributed to Brian's, but it is so spot on, I think, isn't it, Trina?
It is. We are vibration and frequency.
Yeah. So, all right, folks, thank you all. We appreciate you.
Bye-bye.